The holidays are usually the happiest time of the year, but as Omicron surged over the weekend, many people spent their Christmas stranded in an airport. The jump in cases impacts staffing shortages and airlines, resulting in thousands of delays. More than 2,700 flights canceled in the U.S. since Christmas Eve alone. Let's listen in as some struggled to reunite with their loved ones.
One of my best friends is stuck in Mexico right now, and her family just tested positive, and they got kicked out of their hotel room, and it's just a whole disaster.
I hope that people are safe when they travel and that they get where they need to be and that hopefully they get home.
We left the house at 7 o'clock Friday morning, and we just got back here half an hour ago.
And you have yet to actually be on vacation.
True, but we did sleep in a hotel room.
Probably just end up getting a hotel and then try out in the morning.
I actually came here for my dad's funeral. I'll go ahead and share that. And we feel like he's been watching over us the whole time. So we feel really blessed, and we feel like this plane's going to take off, and he's up there helping us out.
Where are you guys heading?
Michigan.
And was your flight canceled?
It was.
Yes. So what now?
So we rebooked.
Yeah, we scrambled.
It's one of the things that's out of your control. So you just take a deep breath and try to find the best alternative.
That's a half full cup kind of guy. We like that. We just heard those travelers from across the country trying to get back home after the holidays. Perfect time to bring in ABC Transportation producer Sam Sweeney. Joins me now to help us sort through all of what's happening across the country with travel. Sam, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So according to FlightAware, and you know this because we get these emails from you, so thank you for that. According to FlightAware, more than 1,000 flights have been canceled today in the U.S., and even more are delayed. This is all happening at the busiest time of the year for travel. But it's not just one issue causing this travel chaos, right?
No, there's weather issues. You know, you have these full schedules, but of course you have the virus. And the airlines really didn't expect this. And they're really caught off guard, just like so many other people are. So that's what we're seeing here, though. Pilots and flight attendants and ground crews, they're affected just like everybody else is affected, all other essential workers. And what we're seeing over the last couple of days is that some pilots and flight attendants have been exposed. They may come down with the virus themselves. And now they've had to call out sick for several days. If you take a pilot or a flight attendant out of their rotation for one trip, which could be 4 days, that could be up to 20 flights affected by this. And you only have so many reserve crews. So they have to take precautions as they work in these tight environments. And what the airlines are doing is preemptively canceling sometimes hundreds of flights the day before, so we don't see that mass chaos unfold at the airport, which we saw in the fall and over the summer when the airlines had their meltdowns.
Yeah, and so many businesses are going through this right now, people going out left and right because they've had close contact or, in fact, they have gotten it. When it happens to the airline, it affects so many people. But again, they are a business. If they had anticipated this any better, could they have even done anything? Because we're seeing this in business after business.
Yeah, 16.5 million people are expected to fly now through January 3rd. This is one of the busiest times. And the airlines have done a lot of preparation, bringing back their people from furlough, those who took voluntary leave of absence over the last, year or so. And they've even hired more people on. And in many cases, they've reduced their airline schedule or their flight schedule to help with any, problems they may have seen from weather. But this is different from weather. We really can't predict who's going to be impacted, when they're going to be impacted, which flights, which cities, which airports are going to be impacted the most. So it's really tough. This is uncharted territory for the airlines, and they're really trying to do the best they can. I spoke to one official from a major airline this morning, and I said, what happens in the days to come? And they said, we're still trying to figure that out ourselves.
Yeah, it seems like a play it by ear kind of thing right now. You cover transportation for us on a daily basis, but I'm sure you're a passenger at times too. Passengers feel helpless when they're in the middle of all of this. They feel just like, you're in the ocean and you're kind of at the whim of the waves. Is there anything passengers can do to try to make this easier outside of just picking up the phone and calling to see if your flight's on time?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a frustrating time. And, the majority of flights will arrive at their destinations today on time with no problems. But if it's your flight, that one flight means the world to you. You may have missed a wedding, a birthday, a Christmas or a Thanksgiving celebration. So that impacts you. Is there anything you can do? This is really, luck of the draw here. But check with the airline before you go to the airport. Check the app. and book early in the morning, because if your morning flight gets canceled, you have more options throughout the day to get rebooked on another flight. But if you're on that last flight of the night, well, then you're of course going to spend the night at the airport. But like I said earlier, the airlines are really doing their best to preemptively cancel flights the day before so we don't see that mass chaos. You do have different options when it comes to these cancellations. You can call in if the hold times are long, which is something we've seen over the last couple of days. You can also reach them on social media, on Twitter or Facebook, and typically those teams respond pretty quickly.
All right, so airline staff, crews calling out sick, just like many businesses the rest of the country as the Omicron variant surges. But just last week, Sam, major airlines, JetBlue and Delta, lobbied the CDC to shorten the isolation period for fully vaccinated individuals. Delta said in a statement that the current 10-day isolation period may significantly impact workforce operations and that the Omicron variant may, quote, exacerbate shortages and create significant disruptions. Should major airlines have done a better job at anticipating this? Or, I mean, they're lobbying for shorter isolation times, but is that the only thing that they can do right now?
Look, they see the writing on the wall. They were preparing, and they said, look, we think that this could be a problem, not today, but maybe tomorrow, the next day. And that's exactly what's unfolded. Delta was the first to make those requests of the CDC. They're like, look, most of our flight attendants and pilots and forward-facing crew members are vaccinated. So if they get sick and they come down with this virus and then they test negative and it's been 5 days, can they return back to work? Can you make that recommendation? And the CDC, we've heard today from Dr. Anthony Fauci that they are strongly considering this. They're looking into it. We've seen them reduce that time from 10 days to 7 days for healthcare workers. So it could be in the coming days or even hours, we could see that there is some sort of reduction in quarantine time, a recommendation from the CDC or the White House.
I know you're following this closely as well. Taxpayers spent $54 billion bailing out airlines during this pandemic, and airline CEOs were recently on Capitol Hill explaining how the unprecedented aid was crucial to maintaining the industry's workforce. So, do you know how airlines actually spent that money?
All of that money, part of the CARES Act, went directly to employees to keep them keep them getting paychecks every week and at work. There were times where the airline said, look, we just don't have any work for you to do, so maybe you can take some time off, unpaid time off, and they can, make their staffs a little bit smaller or take early retirements. But for the most part, by paying those employees, one, it kept them off unemployment. And when the airlines started to see an uptick in travel, they were able to bring those people back quickly and get them on. Now, airlines are different from any other business. It's heavily regulated. So if you take a pilot out of the cockpit for more than 90 days, well, then they have to go through recertification training. And there's only a certain number of simulators available for that, so many hours available. So it would take months or more than a year to get all of their pilots back if they, laid them off. This CARES Act money, experts say, saved the airline industry. One economist on Capitol Hill said that it should be a model for the entire world.
And Sam, just before we let you go, we have some breaking news that we talked about, that Amtrak train colliding with a vehicle in Haverhill, Massachusetts, which is about 40 minutes north of Boston. What's the latest that you know about that crash?
Yeah, and those are aerials that just came in to ABC News. We just got a statement from Amtrak moments ago saying that they are still investigating this. There was 80 people on that train that had left Boston. It was headed towards Maine when it crashed into a vehicle that was on the tracks. Unclear why it was on the tracks, if it was stuck or if it went through one of those railroad crossings. They are still investigating that. But we do not know of any injuries on that train. Amtrak says they're busing those passengers and the crew out of there. It is unclear about the person or people that were inside that vehicle or near that vehicle at the time of the crash. We're still working to get those details.
All right, ABC's Sam Sweeney, thanks so much for keeping up to date on all of this.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.